credits is a whole semester's worth of credit. And I want folks to know, too, that, these certificates were designed with a whole lot of employer input. And, what that ensures us is that, these are all built with employment opportunities at the end of them. Okay?
Right.
So, we know that there's a market for people that have this kind of training.
Yes, you mentioned the accounts payable, accounts receivable certificate, and so you've done some research, and there are jobs out there for people who have this certificate.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, given that we've worked closely with employers, in putting this together, we've asked them things like, what kinds of software packages are you using?
Okay.
What does a job applicant at your place need to hit the ground running, the first day of work? So, one of the outcomes of that is that, many of the content of these courses is designed around a QuickBooks format.
Oh, right.
Because we got a lot of employer input saying we need people, we use QuickBooks at our company, so we need people that are conversant in QuickBooks and, can start right away with what we got. We don't have to train them. So that's the point. Employers know that the people coming to them out of these programs aren't going to need a whole lot of additional training. They're going to be able to hit the ground running. Now, on top of that, it's important to know that once you earn one of these certificates, that's one semester along the way to a more advanced degree. All of these programs can be added to get more advanced degrees.
So these are all stackable credentials?
All stackable credentials.
Is that the buzzword there?
That's right. That's right, absolutely.
Oh, good. So it's great to hear that employers are connecting with QCC on what they really need for candidates.
Well, yeah, we realize, Sean, that, so many of our students, 75% of our students work already. Okay, they work and they're going to school. We know that when we say a 2-year associate degree, for very few people, that's really 2 years, unless they can, focus on the program full time.
Yep.
So we know people need a result. People need to get some schooling. They need to go back into the workforce, or they need to upgrade their skills to, get some advancement in wherever they may be working now, and they can do that in a semester if they're willing to put in the kind of time and lose their weekends for the entire fall.
Yeah.
But given that, there's a very positive outcome, I think, at the end of all this.
Yeah, it kind of gives you that immediate satisfaction where you can get something right away that can be used alone, or you can still build up on top of it, the stackable credential you mentioned.
Yeah, for sure. If you get turned on by this, find out you like school and the certificates are getting you some traction in the job market, you decide to come back, perfect.
Go for it.
We're here for you. Yep.
So this sounds like an awesome model, and I know you mentioned that this was a pilot for QCC.
Yes.
Are there plans to expand this model and do some different stackable credentials?
Absolutely. We do have a bunch of certificates that are beginning to be offered in the fall. We've got one in computer systems, engineering technology. We've got one in manufacturing technology. We've got this business one. We've got a healthcare certificate. And we also have heating, ventilation, and air conditioning that we're offering as a one-semester certificate. Now, they're not all being offered on weekends, just the accounts receivable one so far. So that's the weekend one. But the others are being offered in an accelerated format, meaning that, normally it might take you a year to complete these. Now you can complete them in a semester because some of them have you going to school 5 days a week.
Right.
So there are a multitude of options, for people to put this together. If you can, if you're not working and you can devote a whole semester full time, you've got a bunch of different prospective programs you can pursue. We will add more to this weekend college model, but, we're starting with the accounts receivable because, that's the one where we have found, the most demand right now for employment. So we want to go with that one first.
Yeah, it's a good jumping point. And with these other certificate programs, have you worked with employers with those as well?
Yes, very definitely. All of our academic departments have very strong connections with business and industry, and that happens in a couple of ways, Sean. All programs at the college have advisory groups that are comprised of professionals who are working, in the industries that those programs that.
You get that connection there too, yeah.
Absolutely,
These kids are coming out
hands-on.
ready, or they need this skill, or yeah.
Right. It's hands-on training. Plus, it gives the college, feedback from employers, telling us, hey, your people are short this.
Yeah.
Or your people are real good at that, and that's the way, we learn how to tweak the programs to make sure there's a real good match.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah.
And so these sound like great programs. I mean, I can think of a bunch of my friends who are kind of in a position that would be perfect for their certificate program, so I'm going to let them know about it. And how do I let them know how to enroll? Where would they go?
Okay, you know what? Let me give you a web address here.
Sure.
One is, now it's called My Way.
My Way.
And what you do is you go online and you type in, this is actually an email address to get information. So, excuse me, don't want to misspeak. You can go onto your email and type My Way at qcc.mass.edu. That goes directly to our admissions office. They'll turn around and send you a bunch of stuff or give you a phone call. Okay?
Great.
But the other thing you can do, you can go right to the college's website, which is www.qcc.edu and then /myway. And you'll get a page that talks directly about these certificates because it's all about doing your education your way.
Great. Well, Steve, thank you for joining us again this month. It's always a pleasure to have you in the studio. I think homework for next time, we got to come up with some sort of name for this segment. We need something catchy.
Well, love it, Sean. You guys are great in helping us get this information out to the public. A lot of opportunities here at QCC, and all of these classes have room in them. So, I would just encourage the listeners to
get on the web.
Get on the web, or give us a call to the admissions office. That'd work also.
All right. Thanks, Steve, and take care.
You bet. Thank you, Sean.
All right. Bye.
All right, Sean, you're really becoming quite an accomplished interviewer.
Wow.
Accomplished, my friend.
Thanks.
That was great. So it is neat to see new programs, especially as QCC is really responding to employer requests and demand, and which of course makes the students in those programs much more marketable to them. So, well, it's about that time. We're going to head over to the mail call section. I think we have an intro. Let's see if we can.
Mail Who's here?
Huh?
That sounds so familiar.
Yeah. Well, that's courtesy of I think Blue's Clues.
That's good.
I believe public. Is that public domain or something? I think we're
okay. This is
it's satire.
Bob knows blues, I think, so it'll be clear.
Yes.
So, what do we have in the mailbag this
month? We've got an email from Having a Hard Time in Hardwick, which I really like what they did there with the subject of
It's good, but I think that helps maybe influence your decision which one you're going to pick. It's like, who takes the extra time to come up with a little bit of an alliteration there?
Yeah, I love it.
So what was it? Having
a hard time in Hardwick.
I'm trying to think.
See, WCUW even reaches Hardwick.
Well, it's streaming on the web. It pretty much
right.
You get it anywhere.
Reaches anywhere.
Excellent.
So Having a Hard Time in Hardwick writes, "Hey guys, I'm an older worker that has been laid off for a few months now. I've been having a lot of trouble finding work, and I think a lot of it has to do with my age. Are there any tips you can give me to help get around this issue?"
So we looked into this, and there are some tips out there for older job seekers, to really kind of look at how they're approaching it. As we talked about before with Twitter and LinkedIn and whatnot, is familiarize yourself with the new job search tools and technologies that are out there. Make sure that you do have a social media presence, a professional social media presence, and that your personal social media presence is also appropriate for a job search mode. So just make sure that there's nothing on your social media sites that would paint you in a negative light. So, and that goes for all ages, but as older job seekers, create their profiles. It is something to remember. So I would definitely encourage older job seekers to create a LinkedIn profile if they haven't already. Check out Gozaic and see about maybe utilizing their tools around video resume, which is kind of different and out there. As of right now, not every industry utilizes it or whatever, but certainly it's another opportunity to paint yourself in the best picture, right, in the most flattering light, so to speak. But some other things you can do too when you're approaching an employer through a cover letter or resume. Take a look at that and streamline it to what's most relevant to that opening that's out there. So you don't have to list 30, 40 years of work experience when some of those years.
You can kind of hand pick really relevant to the
streamline it. You don't need a 7-page resume.
You mean I can't put down my 50 years of employment history?
You can,
50
sir.
years.
I can.
Wow.
50 years. Yes.
You've earned that, right? But when looking for a new opportunity, it's probably best to stay with the most relevant to the position that you're applying for, to try to keep it somewhat streamlined. You will have an opportunity, hopefully during an interview, to discuss some of the other experiences and how that relates to the job at hand. Same thing with the cover letter. Really kind of emphasize the skills that you bring without necessarily talking about years of experience. So in a cover letter, you wouldn't say, "In my 50 years of experience." You also want to make sure that, so it's basically age proofing your resume and your cover letter is the way some people refer to it. You also want to show that you are flexible in learning new skills, and that you have recent and relevant skills that you've learned and utilized, and that can bring to the job, and that you're flexible about that. What's the old saying about old dog can't learn new tricks or whatever? Mm-hmm. You want to show that that's not in fact the case for you.
Sean, notice he's not looking at you while he's talking. He's looking at me.
Well, I know Bob said he was particularly excited about this segment.
Well,
yes, I am.
I should mention, though, I am looking at Bob because he has done exactly that. He's the one that has shown me several new tools that are out there, technology tools to make our jobs a little easier, and so he is always on the hunt for the next new trick.
And I also wanted to make a quick plug for the Career Center, Workforce Central. They have a Using Your Age to Advantage
workshop.
Using Your Age to Your Advantage workshop, too. Mm-hmm. So that's something that you could go to Workforce Central, sign up for, and I know that one fills up pretty quick.
That's the other thing, too, is, with age comes experience and also a vast network. So really tap into that network and reach out to some former colleagues and friends to see, get the word out there what you're looking for, so that you can take advantage of that. So really, and then the last thing too is just little things too, like make sure fashion wise you dress appropriately, that you're looking for something that's up to date. At the same time, you don't want to be trying to dress like a teeny bopper out there, no. Right?
The bell bottoms and the Edwardian suits don't cut it at this time.
Describe for me an Edwardian suit. Is that
wide lapel that almost reaches the shoulder?
Yeah, I like those. I like those.
Yeah.
Edwardian suit.
Is that what that would be with the ruffled tux look?
Yeah, it could go well with a ruffled tux look.
Excellent. Well, I'm there then. Edwardian.
Edward. Yes.
Edwardian. So, Sean, we've talked about technology seems to be kind of a recurring theme in both. So for job searching for older workers,
shows, we've talked about it in other shows too. Mm-hmm. It
really is changing the nature of the job market and the job search process. I recall it wasn't too long ago that Monster.com was like a new thing.
Yeah,
and having a job board, an online job board. There are still people that come into the Career Center and they're looking for a job lead notebook. Back in the day, we used to primarily we would pull, faxes or whatever and combine them into a job lead notebook that people could work through.
Yeah. I've never even heard of that.
And so that, and I want to say that was available as well as the online thing. It might still be available.
So was it
on
pulling
some
stuff
level.
from like the newspaper, like the want ads
Yeah,
from the
exactly. It was
newspaper
like the
and
want. It was like that. It was people would fax in things to the Career Center to
Yeah.
post, and so you would actually have a notebook that people would go through for job leads. Bob,
Even the want ads in the local newspaper on Sundays used to be 30, 40 pages.
Yeah, which is part of why why the newspaper model is newspapers in general are really struggling. The classified section has been replaced by the online. Remember, you used to buy used things through the what was it, the want ad book?
Yep.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
You remember that, right?
Yep.
I used to go through. I remember I used to go through and would see the different cars that I wanted.
Oh yeah.
You know-
Circle them. Yeah.
I remember I went to my dad once. It was like like a 20-year-old like Porsche or something. It's like, oh, it's cheap. It's like, good luck getting repair parts for that thing, right? Right. It's
And then
like
that
sometimes the bargain isn't necessarily a bargain.
Yeah. He was probably telling you to get your first job so you could afford that car, right?
Exactly. Get back to work. So, well, we're coming up on. We've got just a couple more minutes, but we did want to take a moment to thank our guests that had come on today, including Mike Corcoran, who
Yeah,
talked
it's a good
about the
show.
Workforce Training Fund and a great resource for business to tap
Oh, yeah.
into,
Yeah.
business and nonprofits.
Businesses are, like you said, businesses are paying into this fund. They might as well utilize it.
Yeah.
There's a way to kind of get some of that back.
And the other thing too is it really does match the incentive for the employer to hire folks that are most kind of out there looking for work, the long-term unemployed too. So that's another avenue to tap into resources to be able to utilize that HITCHY grant or the hiring incentive tax program there. So that is another element that I think we ought to bring to it and make sure people know about it and employers to help, show that there is an incentive out there for hiring someone that's been looking for work for more than 6 months. So.
Mm-hmm.
And so that was neat to hear about. It was also good to hear about to have Amy chat with us about her
show
new
coming
venture,
up,
Exposure with Mosier,
Yeah.
on WCCA.
That's gonna
TV.
be cool. When was the first airing of that? Did we have that on?
I'm not sure we had an actual date.
Oh, okay.
So
Just
and-
keep an eye out for it, though.
and then we had Lauren from Gozaic
Yeah.
and
Got to sign up
and Stephen
create
Budd.
Your, create your profile on there.
Exactly. Well, I have created my Gozaic profile. I haven't quite gotten to the video or some of the other finer points.
Oh,
of
I
it,
can't wait
but,
to see that video.
I'm going to wear an Edwardian suit, and I'm going to talk with an English accent. Do you think that will help my chances?
I'd hire you.
Sean would hire you.
Good day. No, that's like Australian, isn't it? It's a horrible.
I don't know what that was.
Well, I can hear the music in the background. It's
That's that
time
time
to fade on in for another month. Appreciate you tuning into the show.
Taking your lunch break with us. We appreciate that.
Thanks for making it a working lunch.
good.
Working Lunch is heard the fourth Wednesday of each month, right here on WCUW at noontime, with your stars of Working Lunch, Jeff Turgeon and Sean McCauley.
Hashtag working lunch.
Take this job and shove it. I ain't working here no